Hello, YouTube. This is going to be a quick little bonus video. Well, I don't know how quick it is, but it's going to be, I guess, a dirty, unedited video. I have a custom order for some safety eyes. She ordered 6 pairs of safety eyes. 4 of them are ones I already had pre-made, but one was a special custom Light Fury and Night Fury set with fine glitter. And I do have a specific way that I normally make those, but I also had an idea for a different way to kind of get the color into the resin than just painting behind it, the clear resin. And I wanted to give it a try. Now, I'm not going to try that method straight onto the eye, just in case it doesn't work. But I am going to try it in this little mold here and see how it looks before I commit. So, got my supplies out. Let me get one of my little stir sticks. And we're going to start with, I guess, Light Fury, just because it's the color I happen to have sitting right here.
Can I have a water bottle?
Yes, you can have a water bottle. And then don't come back over here. Sorry for the interruption. All right, so I'm going to put just a little bit. That's about how much I would normally use on one safety eye. And the thing I wanted to try was to see what would happen if I put the iridescent flash paint, like a drop of it, directly into the resin, like a teeny tiny drop, directly into the resin and mix it up and just see how would that turn out. So let's try. Little drop. I just want a little bit. I don't want to overwhelm the resin. And let's mix it in. I feel like I've seen other people use acrylic paint as a resin colorant before, but I think it was the 2-part resin and not the UV, so I don't know if that's going to make a giant difference. It's a very dense blue. Kind of pretty. I wonder how that's going to turn out. Okay, so let's try that in this little heart shape right here. And we'll just pour that in there. I'm not going to fill this all the way up, but that's okay, because I also, if this part actually works, then I want to try doing the same thing again, but with the fine glitter also mixed in. And I can always add that as a second layer on top of this thing and get like a 2-toned little heart. And if these work out, these always wind up, my little test mold guys wind up becoming little bonus stitch markers that I throw in with the orders. They don't go to waste. Try not to waste anything if I can avoid it. Okay, so let's stick this in the lamp and see how that turns out. And I'm going to go ahead and pause the video while I wait for the light to do its work. Okay, so that's been curing for 3 minutes now. The color seems to have deepened a good bit. Still a little bit tacky, but let's see if it'll demold. I might just needed to put less of paint in, or maybe it needs another minute to cure. Yeah, it feels a little sticky. Okay, I'm going to give it another minute to cure and see what that does for us. All right, it has now been curing for a little over 5 minutes. And no, it's, yeah, look at that. You see that? Still soft. It is not curing. So I think, though, that it may just be an issue of too much paint in the resin. But I'm also not really getting very much, where's my camera at, of that iridescent quality that you should get with this paint. It's just blue, which is not really what I was looking for, although that can be compensated with the glitter. It's a very nice blue, but it's not the shiny iridescent that it should be. So I'm going to try one more time and see if I can control the amount of paint better. But if this doesn't work, then I'm just going to go back to my old tried and true method because I know it works. And in the meantime, you guys get to just come along this little experimental adventure with me. Try to get this excess stuff out of my cup before I start, so it doesn't get mixed in because I don't want it. Okay. So experiment number 2, we're going to do the same amount of resin, but this time I'm going to use the tip of my little wand here to try and control better how much paint actually goes in there so that it's just a minuscule amount. And we'll see if that cures better. So about an eyeball's worth. There we go. And yeah, I'm just gonna just like that, a teensy dab of color. And we'll see how that works. Okay, it's coming up a lot more translucent so far, which makes sense. It's giving me a colored base for the resin, which is particularly what I wanted. And I did also want to see, I can sort of see the iridescence of this now that it's not so dense. Okay. I also did want to see how it did with the glitter, but I wonder if I should still wait and do the glitter as a third test. Decisions. It's a minuscule amount. Oh, jeez. It's a minuscule amount of resin, so I'm not going to worry about it. Let's do this moon this time. Just for slightly different shape. Why not? Yeah, it pours a lot easier because it's not as thickened by the paint this time. Make sure it gets all the way around that little peg so it makes the hole where you need it to be. These are actually earring molds, but they work really well for making stitch markers too. All right, and into the lamp it goes, and I will see you back in 4 minutes. Okay, 4 minutes is up. Let's see what we got this time around. All right, it feels a little harder. It's not as tacky. Comes out pretty easily. It might have a little bend to it, but it might just be that I need to cook it another minute without the mold. I think this is going to work. Okay, so this is, find my camera, with just paint as the colorant in the resin, which is pretty nice. You can see the little bit of a shimmer in it, the little kind of glimmery. Yeah, this isn't like one of the paints that changes color from one color to another. It's just like a shimmery version of itself, basically. It's like a shimmer paint. So that's pretty nice. So final test will be, will it cure? Yeah, that's actually pretty hard. I like that. I'll probably stick it back in without the mold just to be sure. So let's see, will it cure with a tiny droplet of paint and a little scoop of glitter? And if that works, we'll be ready to move on to the actual eyes, which is very exciting. So once again, eyeballs worth of paint, resin rather. Okay. Get another tiny droplet of paint. Don't need very much. There we go. Stir that in. Looking good so far. Got our shimmer going. Okay, so now final ingredient is the actual glitter. I'm gonna get a clean stick, scoop out the glitter with. Have I opened this one before? Yeah, I have. Okay. So this is just fine blue glitter. And it does not take very much because these are, I mean, it's just a tiny amount of resin that you use on eyes. So you don't need hardly any additives to get the look you're going for. And we'll stir that into, I just wonder if it'll make a difference really to have the resin itself colored as well. If that'll like give a bigger impact to the glitter in the resin. That's kind of what I'm hoping to see. All right, so we did a moon, we did a heart. What other little shape on here do I want to use? I'll do this heart. It's got little imprints of moon and star, and what else is that? I can't tell. There's like another shape in the middle of it. I'm not sure what that is, but that's the one we're going to go for. Just as something a little bit different. Ah, it's very glittery. I love it. I love the glitters so much. They're so much fun to work with. Oh, that was like the perfect amount for that little mold. It just went spread out exactly where it was supposed to. I'm just going to tap it a little bit, make sure there's no bubbles. There we go. And we'll stick this one in the light. And I'll just go ahead and pop the moon back in there next to it. Give it another little touch just to be on the safe side. And I'll see you back in 4 minutes. All right, 4 minutes has passed. Final experiment reveal. Let's see, this one was in there for the extra time too. Yeah, this is perfect. Okay, so this definitely worked out. I'll set this aside to make stitch markers with later. And this one, not tacky, nice and smooth. A nice rich color. It's a little bit bendy. But again, I think I put more paint in it this time. I think this might work. Only one real way to find out, and that's to put it on an eye and see how that looks. But the glitter is nice, very shimmery. And I do like that the resin is also colored. It's so there's not like clear space. Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna set this one in the lamp so it can cure when I cure the eyes. So that's it for experimentation. Let's bring out an actual set of eyes. All right, she wants 25 millimeter kawaii eyes, or the crescent moon style eyes. So here's the blank. And I leave the tape on while I work with it. Just helps me keep the eye clean, and it kind of gives me something to hold on to while I'm working with it. Okay, and then I need my tweezers because I use those to put them into the lamp when it's time. All right. So let's start. Some resin. I'll try to go lighter on the paint this time so it's not as dark and the light is able to get through it better. So just a little dab. A little dab will do you. Okay. Starting to get some blue coloration to the resin, just faintly blue, not like hugely blue. And the glitter should take care of the rest of the coloring. So now blue glitter. This is the Light Fury eye set. We'll do one little scoop. Don't want to overdo it. Little scoop. And dump the excess off of that thing. And stir this in. These might still wind up a little bit more translucent than the part that I just made, which is fine. I can still always add a layer of paint on the back if I need to. But I think this just might make the color just that little bit richer, which is what I'm going for. Okay, let me get my tray. This is handy for just holding the eyes still. If you watched my live on Instagram the other day, I went over all this, but this is just a cheap little paint tray from Walmart, probably. You can get them at the dollar store, just about anywhere. And I put them in there so that I can get the resin onto the widest clear part of the eye first. Ooh, that's pouring out kind of fast. Because that's obviously what's going to show the most. And then I'll just add little drips along the back where it's mostly dark pupil, but there's still that little bit of clear so that it kind of connects. And this resin will self-level, which it's doing very nicely right now. I actually don't think I need to do anything to it to help it level out. So we'll go ahead and stick these carefully into the lamp. I don't want to overset and spill. All right, 4 more minutes. See you back later. All right, 4 minutes is up. Let's see how these have turned out. Okay, but extra time on this one, make it less squishy. No, it's still a little bendable. I think I still had maybe too much stuff in this one. It's not terrible, but it's not perfect like the moon was. Okay, so let's see. These, I went way lighter on the paint, and you can see the light through them, but they still have a pretty nice blue glitter. Okay, so that, yeah, that's not as opaque as I want it, but it's a good start. But I just don't think I can go too much thicker with the paint. So we'll go back to the regular method, and I will do another layer of just resin and glitter because I know that that works. And this is fully cured with that little bit of paint. I just can't, I think I can't go any more than that without it not curing. So, experiment was semi sort of successful, but not enough to continue with going forward, and that's okay. We'll go back to the normal method. So add a little resin to this. Oh my gosh. And then we'll add some more glitter to it. And we'll just do a nice dense layer of glitter for the second layer. And see how that looks. And then if it's still too translucent, I can always add a layer of paint on the back just to block the light from shining through and making it look too translucent and clear so that that glitter really has a chance to shine, because that's what I want to see. I want to see that glitter really shining through. Okay, so nice and densely glittered. Eyes are secure in their pots. So we'll start dribbling a little bit onto each one. Not too much, just a little to start with. And I'm going to kind of let it angle towards the back a little bit. Now I'm going to straighten that one out. All right. It was trying to spill over the edge, and I do not want it to do that. Put a couple drops back there, a couple drops on the back here. Need to straighten that one out a little bit more. Alright, and then I'll just scrapey my little containy. As one of my other favorite YouTubers likes to say, she's a soap maker. Royalty Soaps, you should check her out if you like to just watch cozy videos of people making stuff. Super relaxing. Plus, she has a lot of educational videos if you ever wanted to learn that as a new hobby. I learned how from her videos. Okay, now this time I am going to spread it manually a little bit just to make sure that it coats it pretty evenly. This one's pretty good, I think. Yep, okay. Back into the lamp. And this will probably be the final resin layer. If I need to, I'll do a paint layer. Oh, that one's not wanting to lay even. Hold on. I need to get into my lamp with a little scraper and get some of the excess, like resin droplets out of it. All right. See you back in 4 more minutes. All right. Second layer done. So here's what we've got so far. Oh, this one's spilled. Dadgummit. Ah, what a mess. Look at that. I can get it off, but that's frustrating. Oh, they both spilled a little bit. The tape helped with this one, which is why I leave the tape on. Oh, that's really irritating. Okay. I'm going to peel this off and I'll get back to you. Okay, all fixed. They're a little bit, let me stand up so I can see what you guys are seeing on the camera. They're a little bit foggy because they have my fingerprints on them, but I'll clear that up. Okay. So there's Light Fury so far with the fine glitter. And yes, it will need a coat of paint on the back just for opacity's sake, but very pretty so far. I like those. So we're going to set those aside and I'll paint them in a second. But first, we'll get started on Night Fury. Night Fury's eyes are sort of this iridescent yellow-green. That is the color we will be using. Okay, and I'm going to turn to another set of cups because I can see where that blue spilled into that one cup. And I don't want to get these all messy with blue. Okay, so those are set up and ready. And we're going to get this decent amount of resin to start with for both eyes. Green paint. I'm going to follow just the same procedure I did for those, just so they are symmetrical, basically. So, tiny dab of paint. Mix, 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 mix. I don't know if it'll make a huge difference, because it's barely coloring the resin at this point, but I did it with the other ones, so just for the sake of things being the same. And then we've got this fine green glitter. This is more of like a Kelly green, I guess, or Christmas green than the yellow green. But with the yellow green paint behind it, it works really well. I'm using the other end of my little scooper thing so that I don't mix blue glitter in there. But this one doesn't scoop as well. Because it's like a toothpick or something. Alright, stir this in. I'm sorry if you guys can hear my kid's video game in the background. Hopefully not. Hopefully my microphone is just picking up me, but I never know. Alright. Alright, let's try to make sure this time these are like fully seated in here so that they don't get resin spilling over the sides, because I think that's what happened last time. I don't think they were like fully level in the cups. Alright, and I'm going to try to do a thinner layer so it's less likely to spill over. Like that. Like that. And put some drops around the back. Drops around the back of this one. It's just hard to work on such a small surface sometimes. Okay. Let it kind of self-level a little bit. I'm going to rock it back and forth just a little, just to try to make sure it's evenly to the edges, and then let it sit still. Oh, this resin is so thin sometimes. I think that's part of the issue. Okay. So into the lamp they go. There we go. 4 minutes for those. And then while those are curing, I'll knock over everything. And we will actually paint on these. So I got my paintbrush. Got my bottle of paint. There we go. Now this paint is fairly translucent in and of itself, which is fine. I don't want like a solid color background, but I do want it to be just very blue all the way through. So even when light comes through, it comes through as blue. That's the goal. And I will do one final layer of clear resin after these after these dry, but I gotta let this cure fully, so it'll be later this evening before I finish them off with the clear resin. And all that's to do is to keep the paint from chipping and to try to make it more waterproof. So there's what they look like with the layer of paint. See, it just kind of helps that glitter to really pop out because it's not competing with the light coming through. Okay, so I'm going to set that one over there to dry on the edge of the mat, and then we'll do this guy. Okay. There we go. That's what the light-free eyes will look like. And I'll set those aside for now. And I'll come back to you when the second set, Night Fury, is ready for its second layer of glitter. Okay. Time for glitter layer number 2. Here's after the first layer. Looks like I did still get some overflow. I wonder if I need to shake this or something. I don't know why this is coming out so thin. We should give it a really good shake. Let's see if that helps. I like the J. Diction resin, which is what I'm using, because it cures really hard and very clear and no bubbles. And I've watched several YouTubers give reviews on it after months and even up to an entire year, and it doesn't yellow the way some other resins do. So for all of those reasons, I really like the J. Diction resin. But this is just like their hard type. They have multiple types, and one of them is I think it's a doming type resin, perhaps. I'll have to look it up. But one of them is a good bit thicker than the others. And I think when I go through this bottle and I'm ready for my next batch. Yeah, this one didn't pour. This one came out clean. That's nice. So when I'm ready for my next batch, I'm going to get the doming kind that's a little bit thicker so that it won't spill over the edges as easy. I feel like it'll just be easier to work with. This still works. I mean, it does what I want it to do. It's just not as easy to work with because it has the tendency to flow over the edges a little bit just because it's thinner. Okay, so I got my tape back on. So still a little bit of resin in the pot, so I'm not going to add too much. I don't need very much. I'll finish these guys off. And we'll add some more glitter. Another good scoop of glitter. That reminds me of and we'll stir it up. And I did shake the bottle really good, so maybe it'll be a little bit thicker now. Maybe it had settled while it was sitting and I wasn't aware. This does seem maybe not as runny, unless I'm fooling myself. I could very easily be just fooling myself. Alright, let's make sure this is set firmly in my little cup. I do like these little cups. They work for all sizes of eyes up to 30 millimeters. 30 millimeter is pretty much where it maxes out. Okay. Leave that drop there, drop there. And a little droplet on this side. And on this side. I think that'll be good. If there's any left in there, I'm just going to leave it in there. Okay. I'm going to spread this out with my little stick a little bit because I went thinner this time, so it's not, hopefully not going to run over the edges. That was my thought process anyway. Try and get it just up to the edge without going over. To the side. Yeah, just right up to the edge without going over. Okay, into the lamp. And I'll stick this in there so I can clean it out too. Be back in 4 minutes.